Breaking Gulf News. Moscow, occupied Jerusalem, Damascus has received new warplanes and reconnaissance aircraft from Moscow to fight against Daesh, a Syrian military source said on Tuesday. Our Air Force has taken delivery of at least 5 fighter planes from Moscow as well as reconnaissance aircraft which allow us to identify targets with great accuracy, the senior official said on condition of anonymity. The source said the aircraft had arrived on Friday at a military base in Latakia province, the traditional heartland of President Bashar Al Assad's regime. Moscow has also delivered other sophisticated military equipment to fight Daesh, the official said. These are defensive and offensive weapons including sophisticated arms that target with accuracy and precision-guided missiles, the official said. Russian weapons are starting to have an effect in Syria, the official said. The Syrian military has started using them in the cities of Deir al-Zor and Raqqa, in particular against Daesh positions, the official said. Another military source in Latakia said the army had received Russian reconnaissance planes that will allow Syrian ground and air forces to accurately identify targets. The deliveries also included radars and infrared binoculars, the source said. Russia is also expected to deploy 2,000 military personnel to its new air base near the Syrian port city of Latakia, signaling the scale of Moscow's involvement in the war-torn country. The deployment forms the first phase of the mission there, according to an advisor on Syria policy in Moscow. The force will include fighter aircraft crews, engineers, and troops to secure the facility, said another person briefed on the matter. The pair declined to confirm whether Moscow had sent surface-to-air missiles and fighter jets, as alleged by Washington at the weekend. But Russian and Western military experts said surface-to-air missiles were an integral part of the defenses of any airbase. The comments are unlikely to allay fears in the US-led coalition fighting Daesh, that Russia's military involvement in Syria could escalate the country's bloody civil war or risk incidents between Russian and other forces active in the country. A Russian official on Monday dismissed as disingenuous comments by John Kerry, U.S. Secretary of State, that the presence of Russian air-to-air combat capacity and surface-to-air missiles in Syria raises serious questions, since the capabilities are of little military use against militant groups such as Daesh, which is Moscow's stated reason for its increased intervention in the Syrian conflict. You know as well as we do that anyone building an air base will put in such air defenses, so there's no reason to use this to cast doubt on our initiative to fight Daesh, he said. 3 Western defense officials agreed that the Russian deployment tallied with the numbers needed to establish a forward air base similar to those built by Western militaries in Afghanistan. Fears that Russia's ramped-up military presence could further complicate the balance of forces in Syria prompted Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to travel to Moscow for a meeting with President Vladimir Putin on Monday. After the meeting, Netanyahu told Israeli media that he and Putin had agreed on a mechanism to coordinate the two countries' military actions in Syria and prevent Israeli and Russian troops from accidentally exchanging fire. Israel and Russia share a common interest to ensure stability in the Middle East, Netanyahu said. Israel has warned repeatedly about the transfer of what it calls game-changing weapons to Hezbollah. The Iran-backed militant group which supports Moscow's ally, Al Assad, has shelled Israel in the past. Israel has targeted suspected weapons convoys or caches inside Syria in several unacknowledged airstrikes since 2013. Putin condemned attacks against Israel but said they were carried out by internal elements rather than the Syrian army, which he described as incapable of opening a new front. Our main goal is to defend the Syrian state, Putin said. In a sign of the risks this could entail, Moscow on Monday accused Syrian rebel forces of shelling its embassy in Damascus and demanded that their Western and regional allies take steps to rein them in. The Russian Foreign Ministry said a shell, which landed near its embassy on Sunday but caused no casualties, came from Jobar, which is held by anti-al-Assad fighters who were not allied with Daesh and had external sponsors. We expect a clear position with regard to this terrorist act from all members of the international community, including regional players, the ministry said. This requires not just words but concrete action. It added that the fighters' foreign sponsors were responsible for using their influence on illegal armed formations. With inputs from AFP,